What I want to talk about here is someone's willingness to grow or inability to accept personal accountability. I have a lot of thoughts about that. Now, I don't know this person's context, but I'm going to come from my context and what I hear about this a lot. When we're so used to working on ourselves and healing ourselves, we forget what brought us to that place in the first place, which is that our emotional environment was not conducive to growth. And for us, we needed something different in order to grow. And
first of all, I love her content. She is direct, she's compassionate, she breaks things down like so easily, and her diagrams are spot on. I have been sitting with this particular video for a while. She talks about how not taking accountability is usually tied to an environment that does not support that growth. In other words, an enabling environment. And then at the end there, she says it's not hopeless. You can change this if you want to. I want to offer a different lens because I come from a different context. Now, she's very clear in her messaging that her goal is to help restore relationships. And that perspective matters because, yes, if the goal is to stay, but you're with somebody who doesn't take accountability, then your work becomes stop chasing them for safety, create self-safety, set boundaries, issue consequences, and embody self-worth. In doing these things, you create an environment where your partner has an opportunity to actually face their behavior. And I don't disagree, but I'm an authenticity and alignment coach. My messaging is about honoring your inherent values, not the values that were socially imposed on you. So here's my take. Just because you can hold space for someone in a partnership, it doesn't mean that you have to. Especially not in a romantic relationship where what you want to experience is mutual connection and not just coexistence. So in my past, I was with somebody who blamed me for everything. They couldn't take accountability for their trauma, their projections, their distortions, or their behavior. And initially, I did the shrinking and the tiptoeing. Right? I had no boundaries. I didn't issue consequences. But then I did exactly what she described. I built self-worth. I set boundaries. I stopped enabling. But they didn't grow. In fact, they got worse. They kept trying to pull me back into the version of myself that served them. So I ended up leaving. Then I met somebody new. I entered this relationship honoring my boundaries, honoring my self-worth. They were an amazing partner. They were supportive and they were caring and they were respectful, but they were emotionally unavailable. They had their own repressed shame that they hadn't been able to reconcile. And because of that, it shaped their worldview and how they engaged with people. So even though I created a safe, non-reactive space, their response was the same. They didn't grow. Not because they refused, but because they were paralyzed by shame. And I could see it and I had compassion for it. Now, here's the part where people might say, well, now that you've met your own needs, you don't need anything from them. You can stay, be a safe space, and wait while they figure it out. Especially if everything else about the relationship is what you want, then accept them and hold space. From a relationship-centered perspective, sure. From an authenticity and alignment perspective, not so much. Yes, I've learned self-love. Yes, I can sit in discomfort. Yes, I can regulate my own nervous system. All of that was essential for my personal and my relational growth. But the next level of my growth would be experiencing deep intimacy, reciprocity, mutual presence, emotional availability. And that requires another person to meet me there. Staying in a relationship where I'm the only one emotionally present, that's not grounded. That's living in future potential, and potential isn't partnership. So I can love someone very deeply and I can see their wounds. I can even understand why they're stuck and still choose that they're not the right kind of partner for the type of intimacy that I want to build. That choice doesn't come from fear or from self-abandonment. It comes from self-respect because I have so much love for myself that I won't settle for anything less than emotional depth. So this is just to say that it's okay to honor what you want and to walk away from somebody who can't match your emotional depth.